When they see their mothers or fathers or family members rounded up, that leads to a lot of rage.
Hey guys, so everyone's favorite, Scott Jennings, went back on CNN to discuss ICE agents and to discuss Democrats' treatment of them. Now, I don't know what you've seen in the news, but I think it's pretty fair to assert that Democrats are not the greatest fans of ICE agents, are not the greatest fans of legal immigration in general. But when Scott says this, he gets a lot of pushback from Ana Kasparian, who you may know as one of the hosts on The Young Turks, and recently someone who has dipped her toe into the right. Not really, but she did appear on Tucker Carlson, so that's probably enough to get her kicked off of Blue Sky forever. Anyhow, let's see what Scott Jennings has to say.
I will just say Republicans right now are trying to recruit and give bonuses to people who want to serve in ICE. And Democrats right now and people on the left are encouraging violence against people who want to serve in ICE.
They are?
And are putting them in harm's way every day.
How
so
exactly?
The two parties and how they're treating ICE agents right now, I think Republicans embracing recruitment of ICE and Democrats encouraging maybe violence.
So we're just going to make a
Terrible.
declarative statement like that without providing a single shred of evidence.
You have not seen the myriad stories of ICE agents?
Okay,
Democrats every day are calling them the Gestapo.
No.
Do you think that helps or hurts?
Well, they do act like Gestapo when
Now
they're showing up.
Now you're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, Ana Kasparian can't help herself. Scott Jennings says they're calling them Gustapo, and then she says, well, that's because they are like Gustapo. And obviously for most people, making any sort of comparison to the Holocaust is extremely emotionally inflammatory. And a lot of people would justify some pretty extreme actions if they thought they were fighting, Hitler 2.0. In terms of specific examples, probably people like Hakeem Jeffries or Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, come to mind. People who are vehemently against deportations of illegal migrants. But not just that. Think about all the Democrats that are calling for ICE agents to remove their masks, ostensibly so that people can recognize ICE agents and discern who is really an agent and who might not be, that sort of thing. But the real function of forcing ICE agents to not wear masks, obviously, would be so that they can be harassed and that their families can also be harassed. And that's putting it mildly. I mean, again, people have very strong feelings about this. So you can imagine that some extreme action, violence might be taken against these law enforcement officers. In any case, I like the frame that we've paused on here. It really encapsulates Ana and Scott's perspectives in this debate, but let's continue.
They're just showing up
you condone the violence.
Penske trucks.
Do you condone the
at
violence?
Home Depot. Listen, I don't want my tax dollars going to that garbage, okay? Those people do not deserve to be treated that way simply because they might be undocumented.
Do the ICE agents deserve to be having violent acts committed, rocks thrown at them?
No, they
people
don't.
Trying to
they don't.
Kill
and
them?
those people who do that get arrested, and they should be arrested.
why don't they don't?
Undocumented is such a funny euphemism. I mean, probably these people have documents of some capacity. Like, I imagine in their native countries, they might have a birth certificate or at least some sort of documentation establishing who this person is and where they've been. Yes, they don't have American citizenship by definition, so they would not have that sort of documentation in their possession. There's a very simple way not to get rounded up by these supposedly Gestapo-like ICE agents, and that would be just not to come here illegally. I mean, the choice is entirely up to them. And people might say, well, there are dreamers and there are people who were taken here as kids. And yes, that is true. And so again, for parents with young children who might be considering crossing illegally, just don't do it. Ana Kasparian is telling you how awful and traumatizing it's going to be. And you know what? I would rather you avoid that. And I mean that genuinely. So stay in your home country. Also, and this is kind of a nitpick, I think, but I do think it's funny that everyone is allowed to acknowledge now that illegal migrants typically congregate at Home Depot or might be gardeners or might work as maids. I remember Kelly Osbourne getting absolutely slammed for saying something to that effect on The View like 10 years ago. But I guess everyone can finally admit that, yes, those are the jobs that migrants typically do, and those migrants are typically Hispanic. Anyway, it's just nice that at least that part of the conversation doesn't have to be shrouded in euphemism.
Because they've been told the ICE agents are Gustapo.
Have you considered the fact that in a city like Los Angeles that has a massive immigrant community, when they see their mothers or fathers or family members rounded up, that leads to a lot of rage and they retaliate. I'm not saying they should. That is criminal. They should not assault a police officer. Let me just tell you something. Someone messes with my family, I get violent. Okay, that's how I feel about family.
Good to know.
I protect family.
So this is a very interesting admission from Ana. One of the things that I think makes America so unique in terms of its founding principles and founding stock was that people were really bound by law and service to a higher law, even over the immediate emotional pulls of supporting their family. The idea that there is this universal truth that you should swear your allegiance to rather than just swearing your allegiance to your mom and your dad and your ancestors is by no means universal. And obviously Ana has illustrated that for us, but also she says Los Angeles is the city of immigrants. Well, yes, Los Angeles is specifically a city of illegal migrants, it would seem. I think that Democrats know this. I think that Mayor Karen Bass knows this. It's why they are so afraid of ICE agents coming in and doing their job and protecting actual American citizens by deporting illegal migrants. I mean, you'll hear some Democrats plainly admit that they want illegal migrants here, that they want the children of illegal migrants here, because they are going to be a very strong voting bloc for Democrats. And it makes sense. I mean, if I were an illegal migrant and I figured out some way to vote, I certainly would not vote for the person promising to deport me. I think. I don't know. Anyhow, let's get back to Ana's remarks and insights into family and violence.
So don't be surprised when people feel angry when they feel that there's a bunch of feds in their city invading their city,
There's a violent streak
going
in the country
after
right
people
now
who are just day laborers that are Home Depot parking lot.
That's dangerous talk.
It leads to unrest. It leads to a ton of unrest.
No, it's more than that. They are physically
that's
attacking.
And by the way,
there's an 800% increase in attacks on ICE agents.
Well, it's one thing to give an explanation of why someone might be angry and just try to explain the causes. I could accept Ana's explanation in that sense of, okay, these people are here and they feel upset and they've developed a certain entitledness to live in America in Los Angeles. But Ana's tone seems to suggest that these people have a right to be angry, which is sort of bizarre to me. I mean, it's like if you had a squatter in your house and then they'd been living there for a while, you'd been trying to get them to leave, you finally called the cops to kick them out, and they're angry and they say, but I've been living here for months. You can't kick me out. Well, yes, you can, and you should be kicked out. But in any case, what did you think of the video? Did you take Scott's side? Are you more on Ana's side? Let me know in the comment section below. Give this video a like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.